you joined for two reasons. Because I know now it's October, and we talked about checking in October, and you're here, so this is great. And the other reason is that I wanted to ask you a question about like recovery. But anyway, let's talk about how you're doing right now, because big update. Like you're almost at the year mark come next month, right?
Yeah, end of November. So I just had a checkup with my surgeon yesterday, actually. Um, we took x-rays. It all looks good. We're scheduling the rod removal surgery for sometime after mid-November. We're waiting for surgery dates to open up. Um,
Okay.
but he said, basically, hey, looks good. You can start, trying to jog, trying to run. Just, pay attention to your pain threshold. Um, if you have pain, right at that site and, it starts to keep hurting, let me know so we can see if there might be stress fractures there.
Yep.
But otherwise, do what you're able to do. And I'm not putting any restrictions on you. Basically, do what your body uh, tells you is okay.
That's music to my ears. Now let me ask you. So he said that as of when? When was your last checkup?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. You just said yesterday. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So you are pretty much cleared for full on activity.
Yes, he said
That
he did say no impact sports. So he
right.
said don't get back out on the soccer field just yet, but you can start jogging, start doing those stuff. Um, he said we were looking at the x-rays and he says, the very front part of the bone is the last to fill in,
Hmm. Hmm.
but there's, enough growth on the back part of the bone to compensate for that. So he's not really worried about um, anything
That's
happening there.
I remember the same thing that my surgeon said to me, because that front part, the anterior cortex of the tibia, last to fill in, last to consolidate, last to ossify, and it was spongy and soft, and probably till about the year mark, a little bit, or sorry, not the year mark. It was like more like 14 to 16 months. But the point is that you're still able to kind of go ahead and do. There's enough support beams of the bone to kind of handle full on activity. So that's incredible. So no impact sports, no getting kicked in the shins on the soccer field, but you can still get out there. You can run, right?
Yep.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
I've I've tried to do a little bit of jogging and my body's kind of going, what are you doing? Like, are you sure we're ready for this?
Yeah.
So, taking it slow, just kind of to the end of the block and back, um, trying to, but I am, I'm on the bike for a half hour, probably 2 to 3 times a week. I'm on the treadmill doing, you know, anywhere from a mile to 2 miles at a time, two,
Wow.
3 times a week. So, yeah.
It's crazy. So you were doing a lot of cardio. And do you feel like the cardio is actually helping accelerate your recovery a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Once I was able to start walking and he told me, you know, okay, moving kind of from physical therapy and, isometric exercises and isolating, the calf or the Achilles, stretching those out to, hey, let's get functional and just start walking and start doing these movements.
Hmm.
um, I feel like that was a really big step in the recovery because all of a sudden
Absolutely.
I felt freer. I felt almost back to normal. Like now I'm walking around, going upstairs, downstairs,
Yeah.
no problems. And so it really does, it feels like there are times when I almost forget and I'm like, oh, let me go for a run. Oh wait, I'm not quite there yet. But I feel in my normal day to day, I don't feel, the pain that I was feeling before the surgery or, any pain since the surgery. So it's, I won't say I'm completely pain free because, you know, there are all aches and pains from having played sports for so long, but there isn't the acute pain
Yeah.
that happens that tells me something's wrong.
Absolutely. No, and everything you're saying just takes, like I said, time and time again, it takes me down memory lane because I remember when I was cleared for full on activity, and it happened right around, like, I think I think it was like right around like that 7 or 8 months. Like she said, you could do stuff, and just because I was like healing really, really well. I was in my early 20s when I got it done, but right around what you were saying that I was able to run. I noticed around you're about 10 months in, maybe 10.5 months, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and it was right around then. It was the 11th month mark that I did a photo shoot. I was on a track and I was running, and I only have pictures from it because obviously, and he never recorded anything, but I remember sprinting, like, from not even jogging, like what you're about to do and stuff,
Uh-huh.
to just all out sprinting for the photo shoot because I want to look good, right? So, and I felt like you said, my body wasn't ready for it because I felt a little bit of soreness, a little bit of aching in that in the shin, and I think that is something that tibia patients need to watch out for because you can develop a stress fracture. Because Robbins has said it before that the screw can cause a stress riser, meaning like it's kind of implanted horizontally. You got the vertical axle loading of the nail, so it can cause some sort of extra stress, and then that can cause a stress fracture, like what you said. So I probably shouldn't have done that. It was a one-day thing, so I got away with it. But definitely gradually build up. I mean, you're doing tons of cardio, so that's going to continue to heal the bone. You're going to get more more muscle back, more muscle control, and all that stuff. So that sounds fun, Sam. I'm super happy because I remember we were talking last year before your surgery. You were kind of worried about it. You're like, what's this all about, Victor? Like, what am I getting myself into? And then now look at you. You're at the 1 year mark, fully cleared.
Yeah.
And I've asked you this time and time again, but for anybody that's new watching here, would you have done it over sooner if you could have?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. With the technology that's available now, if it was available earlier, I would have done it earlier.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That is so great. This is my favorite part of the patient story when I get to kind of interview people like you here, because it's like yes, the prospective patient going into the surgery, they're super nervous. It's kind of cool to kind of like help calm down the nerves and get them going for the big, endeavor. But then, when the first few weeks hit, they're like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing I've ever done. Why'd you tell me to do this, Victor? And then they go through the length and they're like, all right, we're getting there. And then they get into the consolidation phase. They can start to see like the horizon and the green pastures and all that good stuff. But then where you are right now, you're like, holy crap, full activity, let's go. Like the gauntlets are off, let's go. So I think you're probably really stoked right now and pumped up, ready to get back to it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's awesome. Good stuff, Sam. So what type of workouts are you going to change up? Like, because you just said that you're doing lots of cardio on the treadmill, the bike, walking up and downstairs. But what other type of workouts are you planning to do?
I'm planning to start doing a lot more agility, speed ladder work. I've done a little bit of that, some lateral agility, but I want to start doing some speed work.
Yeah.
Um, it's something that I haven't done in a while. Um, it just, physically not able to, and so I'm looking forward to doing, speed work, some sprint work, work with a soccer ball.
Okay.
Um, that those are the kind of things I've always enjoyed doing, like kind of multiple activities within one. So
Mhm.
like before, what I used to do is I used to have a setup in front of a goal. I'd have, a line of balls set up and then cones, and I do exercises through the cones. And at the end of each exercise, okay, it's shot on goal.
Mhm.
Okay, go quick 3 feet through the cones, take shot on goal.
Mhm.
Go, some karaoke, shot on goal, and try and work those in so it's not just, hey, I'm doing this one activity over and over again, but here, let me try and make it functional to, the sport that I'm playing.
Absolutely.
So I'm really looking forward to that.
I what you just said is one of the best pieces of information that has been said on this channel in a long while. If I may have said it in a video, but I don't think any other patient has, is doing the exercises and rehab work that is applicable to your actual hobby, sport, activity, whatever it is so important, right? People talk about, oh, limb lengthening makes you lose athleticism. Well, when they get back, they don't even know how to train back to what they were doing, right? They just say, "Oh, I want to be able to run again." Well, then run, So you're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, shot on goal, agility, karaoke, this, that, and the other." You're literally devising these workouts that are applicable to soccer, which is you have been a national champion and whatnot, and the past. And I think that when you do that, your adjustments to your new biomechanics, because you just increased, I mean, your not only your height but also fix your biomechanics, and your pelvic obliquity is now stable. All of that is going to play into you getting back your preoperative ability, and you're going to probably be better. So I think that I got to make a video about that. It's like, if you want to get back to full on recovery, or fully recover, do what you're supposed to do to get back to your sport. Train specifically for it. So
Yeah.
that's incredible, Sam. Wow. And now that you're going to be getting into this higher level of recovery, that means you're going to produce some more content for us, right?
Yes. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Um I like to, and I used to do this. I like to shoot my workout so that I can look at my technique and try and improve on my technique, because it is so much muscle memory
Yep.
that um, if I go without playing for a while, all of a sudden it just feels off, and so I have to look at it and go, okay, what am I doing differently? Like, when I go through this motion, where do I feel off, and does it look different from the way it looked before?
I love
So
that. Man, you are literally I think it just comes from being an athlete, right? Self an athlete, you're an athlete. When you talk to an athlete, they understand each other. But yeah, I think it's going to be really good to see that, because you're a soccer player. So seeing you do drills with the ball, there's several other soccer players that want to get this done from both a discrepancy and a cosmetic stature standpoint. So seeing your videos is going to be paramount for people to feel like, oh, his bones are healing. He's still in the recovery phase, but look at what he's doing. So
yeah.
yes, Sam, huge win. Awesome. I love it. That is really good. All right, Sam. So we have a question in here from Angie for you. She's saying, "Hey, Sam, when did you start walking normally, and when were you able to walk up the stairs?"
Walking normally, I would say that, God, I think I took a little video of myself um,
Yeah. You gave it to
walking.
me, and I put it on my
Ye-
channel. I think
Yeah,
it was like early
just
spring,
let me
right?
see. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So I took that April 30th. I'm just looking at my email.
Mhm.
So okay. So April 30th, and that was my surgery was November 27th. So
Okay.
basically, November 30th, December, January, February, March, April. So 5 months. 5 months
5 months.
after surgery,
Yeah.
and um, what was it? What did I say? 6 weeks after being told I could start putting weight on it,
Hmm.
and 13 weeks from finishing the lengthening. So after completing the lengthening, 13 weeks later was when I started walking pretty normally.
I
Um,
love this. This is almost identical to mine. Literally, I was walking at 16 weeks, because mine was a little bit more. I think you were like what 2 point, like just about like 2.5, right? And then mine
yeah.
was like closer to 4. So mine was 16 weeks. 6 weeks after, or at 5 months, which is like 20 weeks, I was walking normally, because I was able to walk at the 16 weeks, and
Yeah.
then you said the 6 weeks. You said something, but all of that
Yeah,
aligns
six,
with.
6 weeks after my surgeon said, okay, you can start to put weight on it, you know, and
Yeah.
and you can start trying to wean yourself off the crutches.
With the crutches, right, and that was
Yeah,
mine too, but I was probably doing things a little bit more aggressively than my surgeon knew, but don't tell her. But the but
yeah. Every
the
time, every time I go to my surgeon and he says, okay, I think we can move to the next step. He asked me, "Did you already start trying to do
Yeah,
this?"
I know, right? It's like they know, right? They know that, like,
Yeah,
athletes are not gonna be sitting idle just waiting, like, a lot of, like, I call them desk jockeys or average Joes. They'll just sit there, like, with their hands crossed, like, "Is my bone good enough? Is my bone good enough?" And some of them won't, but then they get their
yeah,
bones snapped. But
but
that's incredible, man. Like, I think that's so helpful for tibia lengthening patients, because femur's a little different, obviously, especially if you do more length, but the tibia, it's a slower healing bone. And this is an athlete, so this is actually pretty fast to be able to walk with him normally within 5 months. That's the same thing for me. So that's incredible, Sam. Incredible. Okay, let's see if they have any other questions for you. um i'll go through some of I'll go through some of these questions in a minute. Okay, so I don't think any more questions directly for you, but I'll answer some of these questions in here, and then we'll see any more things, and then we'll hop off. So let's see. I saw that Brett was doing another round of lengthening. Did he reach his goal height? How tall is he now? Yeah, so Brett was here last week with Dr. Robbins. He's one of his patients, and I actually sent him the link tonight as well through the big email blast. So he has that if he checks his email. Whoever's subscribed would see that. But he started at 5'7", and he did both his tibias and his femurs. So he told me today, actually texted me, and he said that he was approaching 185.5 something. So he's over 6'1" now. So that's a lot, isn't that, Sam? To go from 5'7" to 6. How tall are you, Sam?
I was 5'10". I've gotten about a half inch from that discrepancy lengthening. So
did you really?
Officially, I'm now 5'10" and a half.
5'10" and a half.
I'll just round up to 5'11".
That's awesome. That is awesome. I love it. That's what Brett does. He just rounds it up and then he's perfect. So, we got HJ on the show. Welcome, HJ. What's up? Can you hear us? Try to go off and come back on.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Try to go off and come back on. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I think there's
but I can't hear you. I've hold on.
Yeah. That's what Sam said. Go off and come back on, HJ. I'm not sure what's happening. I will have to look into the software, like, seriously. Okay, so let's answer a few more of these questions in here. All right, so he's going to come back on. So, Sam, that was from Angie. Angie, do you have any other questions for Sam? So, Angie, I think I don't know if you're a stature patient. I think you asked a question last week or two, and I think you're a discrepancy patient. Kevin saying the surgery is not worth it. Victor had barely any lengthen, but most people want 4+ inches, and that comes with extreme complications, and nobody has recovered 100% athletically. Well, Kevin, to actually, unfortunately, prove you wrong, I know about 10 people who have recovered better than, and you're talking stature lengthening. Okay, I had it for discrepancy, but it doesn't matter. Actually, discrepancies, you have a bigger shift in biomechanics. You can ask Sam or myself. It's for stature, you have a few weeks of adjustment, but we live our whole lives with, lopsidedness. But anyway, I know about 10 people that have recovered 100% and better for stature. And most people don't necessarily want 4+ inches. That's a lot. But if they do, they got to take their proportions into account. And if it's not worth it, have you got it done? So it's hard to speak about it until you've done it, right? Because Sam says it's worth it. I say it's worth it. Hundreds, thousands of stature patients have said it's worth it, and discrepancy patients. So I hate to say it, but you're wrong. If you get it done safely. Now, if you go to some butcher in some crazy clinic, then that's your choice. But sorry for being the bad guy today, but I like to bully. So what's up, HJ? You're back on the show.
Hi.
Hey, can you hear us now?
Yes.
Hey, man, how are you?
Fine.
How's it going? Thanks for joining the stream. Yeah, it was kind of dead in here, but we had Sam join. Sam's doing great, HJ. He's at the 10.5 month mark, and he's full on recovery. Were you listening
in? With Sam?
Yeah, Sam. He's a discrepancy patient, but he had it for tibia, and he's back to normal. He got cleared for full activity just yesterday. So that's awesome.
So I'm like about 6 months past my tibia rod removal, my last rod. So
yeah, it was March.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
How's it going? How's everything
very
feeling?
Well.
Yeah.
So
Sam, when did you say that the doctor said you can get yours removed?
We're shooting for basically any time after mid-November, which would be basically at the 1 year mark.
Okay. And HJ, you got yours removed a little bit after the 1 year mark, right?
Yes, about actually like 1 year and 8 months.
Okay. Gotcha. And what do you notice? Because this will be helpful for Sam. So let's talk about your tibia nail removal recovery rehab process since March. Talk about that. What's that been like for you? What's the first week like after you get your nails removed?
Yeah, first week you just take it easy because you're recovering from surgery for the first week. So I was recovering from surgery. So there's some swelling there, some like surgical, like little muscle soreness, and then just want a little more consolidation because now you're all fully dependent on your bones and your legs and not the rods anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So like the first week, you just take it easy, and then after like about 6 to 8 weeks after surgery, then you're pretty much you're all done.
You're just all done.
Yeah. But I still have to do some stretching and strengthening. So
Gotcha. Now let me ask you this, HJ. When you because we were talking earlier about the anterior cortex like of the tibia bone, so when you were cleared for full activity after tibia removal, were you told to refrain from like impact sports for like a certain amount of time?
yeah, for up to 8 weeks. Yeah.
8 weeks. Okay,
After
good. So
removal
Sam,
surgery.
so no crazy soccer plan until about 2 months after. So
Yeah, I told him that my plan was the spring, February, March, trying to get back into it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that lines up right." So
okay, cool. Yeah, we don't want any like stress fractures because then have to get
yep.
sidelined again, all of that. So that's awesome. But that's perfect, right? That's like soccer season starts to get warmer and you can get out there and play. But HA, I want to also ask you about when you got the rods removed, did you feel a little bit more natural? Because I know that some surgeons say no, but technically, we're the patients. Like I personally felt like I felt a little different when I had my nails removed. My nail removed. What about you when you got your nails removed?
Yeah, it felt like it felt a lot better. It just felt my legs felt lighter. So,
Felt
but
a little lighter, right?
yeah, a little lighter,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I don't have
That's
those locking screws that I can feel anymore. So
yes.
it's
Because
good.
you got those locking screws removed when you got your fingernails removed.
I got the the long screw, the syndesmotic screw that connects the fibula
Tibia
to the tibia at the ankle.
Gotcha.
Got
That one.
that
Okay.
removed
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
from my
All right.
femur.
And yeah. Okay. Very cool. This is just so cool to talk about this because HJ did both femurs and tibia. So anybody in the chat who wants to ask about either or, you can. And he also did quadrilateral lengthening. So if there's any questions about that, but I think that tibia lengthening is less common than femur lengthening. I mean, we all know that, but it's one that's kind of a little bit more mischievous, right? Like it's not done as much. Surgeons, I think there's a smaller pool of surgeons that can do it really well. I think that there's also a higher risk of complications because that you have like I said, it's a very finicky bone. You have the
Yeah, it's also more
mechanical and
expensive.
what's that?
It's also more expensive.
It's more expensive, exactly.
It requires more skills, and not all surgeons can do the tibias as well as they
Yes,
can do the
yep,
femurs.
100%. I agree with you 100% because I see a lot more complication cases coming from tibia lengthening surgeries than femur lengthening. So I mean, I'm so glad to see my guy Sam here, recovering because especially like Sam, do you feel any tightness in your ankle still, or is it like touching the ground fine? You can move your ankle fine.
I feel like I have at least as good flexibility in my ankle as I did before, due to the the issue that caused my discrepancy. My ankle is tilted, so
Right.
it didn't have the same flexibility, but as my right ankle. But I feel like I have at least as much flexibility as I did prior to the surgery.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
So life doesn't feel too much different.
yeah, no. I do have a question because in talking with my surgeon, he said he'll try and get the screw that between the tibia and the fibula to keep it, at the bottom right above the ankle. It broke, and he said
Okay.
that's not uncommon, and so he's gonna try and take it out when we have the surgery. But he's like, if not, it'll just be like the head,
Yep.
and he'll leave in the part that's in the tibia, and so I'm just wondering, is that kind of normal? Is there
That
anything that I
is
should?
that's a good question because it is more common than you think. I've heard it's not super common, but it happens, right? It's not like 1 in a million or nothing like that. It's probably um, I'd say probably 3 out of 100 get that, like 3%, right? Like have that happen. It happened to me actually. Like when I had my precise nail removed, it was at the proximal portion of the fibula and where the transfixation screw was going across tibia to fibula at the fibular head, and it broke off. And she was like, "You can leave it in there. It's not going to cause any problems." And I didn't. I think the nail's only magnetic, or like is titanium. I don't think the screws are. They might be. HJ, do you know if the screws are too?
The screw, they're metallic but not magnetic.
Not magnet. Yeah. Okay. So she said you could leave that in, and I was like, I know I'm the cyborg, but every bit of metal out of me. So, so I literally told her, I was like, let's think about. I thought on it. She let me think on it, and I came back and said, I just want to get it out of me. I didn't know what I know now, and I didn't think there was going to be some sort of ramification down the line. So she went back in and she worked her magic and she got it out. If you can't get it out, it can always come out at a later time, but they have tools and they can kind of whittle it out. You'll be that's a syndesmotic screw. It's going cross. Its transfixation is going from tibia. I think is it tricortical? Is it going through three of the? Is it going from the tibia? Which one is yours? Is the left leg, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, where is it broken? Is it just the head of the screw, or is it the tip of the screw?
It's broken towards the head. Like it broke in that little in between space between the fibula and the tibia.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Well, you'll be surprised. Like I said, they can fish that out with a lot of their little tools in their toolbox. So, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I would, if it's left in there, I know patients that have left it in. It's not a problem. Most surgeons, they'll see it if it does break off. They'll say, "Let me try something." They'll get it out. But it's
that's basically what he said is, I'll give it a shot and see if I can get it out.
Right. But he can see it on X-ray, so he's probably pretty confident that it is pretty broken. It is broken. So, okay, cool. All right, let's answer some of these questions in here. Then we'll bounce. This is a good question for HJ. Does the IT band reheal after surgery? HJ, you want to answer that?
The IT band.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's usually a problem for femur lengtheners, not for tibia lengtheners, because it goes on the outside between the hip to above the knee.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what you mean by heal. I mean, I think you mean by stretching more.
I think so. Basically, I know Dr. Robbins actually said this last week. So the IT band, like when they do the release, it does actually heal back. After due time, so it heals. Yeah. Because that if you can palpate or feel where your IT band release, does it feel like it's taut again, like it's intact?
No, it feels fine. I just stretch it a lot, so I go to like a stretch zone also. So they do a lot of IT band stretching.
Nice. You're going there? You're going there now?
Yeah. So I'm still going there. I have enough credits, so it still helps. Yeah.
Cool. That's a really good thing. Because I know patients that get ready for the surgery and they don't know how to stretch. And although there's videos all over the internet, there's videos on my channel, even in the course, Lengthening Secrets, little streamer going below here. But I think that going to things like you said, stretch zone, I think there's one called stretch lab, or any type of prehab or stretching.
Anywhere where somebody helps you stretch.
Yeah.
It's more effective than trying to do it yourself.
Absolutely, because sometimes you might not go hard enough or you might go too hard, and these are experts about stretching. They know about the muscle. They know how to. Do they also measure range of motion, like in your joints?
They don't measure it, but I just tell them to stretch. They put you on a table, so they have like all these straps there, so you're secure and get the most stretch, and they know all the muscles to stretch.
Yes, that's the way. So I think that and if a person's a little shy, they don't want to say, "Hey, I'm going in for limb lengthening surgery or fixing my discrepancy or whatever." You can literally say, "Hey, I'm having surgery. My surgeon said that I need to increase my range of motion by X or Y," and you ask your surgeon ahead of time, like when they see your free consultation, "Am I flexible enough?" They say, "No, you should work on this." You take that information to the stretch zone. You don't have to tell them any specific details about what you're getting done. So. Alrighty, let's answer this one from Wayne. I feel previous minor injuries when the weather changes in autumn. I can only imagine what it would feel like in the weather changes for someone who has limb lengthening. Let's ask Sam about this. So Sam, when you have that nail in, when you've been going through your lengthening process, when it storms, when all the the rain pours in, do you feel any different with in the leg?
No, don't really. I mean, sometimes it'll feel sore in the cold, like if it's a cold morning, but it doesn't really, it doesn't tell me when it's going to storm or anything like that. Wish I had the Weather Channel coming in there, but no, it doesn't do that for me.
Yeah, no, that I didn't notice it either. I think you said something about the cold. Like I did notice that my I don't know why, but maybe the metal took, because it's metallic, right? Like HJ said, so it's like metal gets cold, and maybe there's a little bit more cold from the metal. I don't know, but I didn't notice any type of tingles or cyborg sense coming that there's going to be a storm coming. So, nope, unfortunately not. All right, let's see here. This one from Teenage Experiment. If the three of you on the panel had to stay at the height at which you all thought a Caucasian male in America would receive the most beneficial and dramatic life-changing effect from a 3-inch height. So if you had to say the height. Okay, so what height? Okay, so Sam, this might be a little different for you because you're a discrepancy patient, but like if you want to answer it, just kind of like as a topic, HJ. So I guess as a man in America, what would you think would be, because Sam, you said you're 5'10", 5'10 and a half now.
Yeah.
I'm just about 5'9" with shoes and everything like that. So, and HJ's 5'11" with shoes. He's like probably closer to 6 foot. So we all have different height stats. So I'm just, I guess in America, like a little under average height. Sam's at average height or a little bit above, and HJ's above average height. So what would you say? I would say for myself, I don't notice any type of detraction or obstacle for things that I want to achieve in life at this height now. Now, before I got surgery done, before my discrepancy was fixed and I got that boost in height, I would say that I felt personally insecure a little bit about my height, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get it fixed besides the pain. But I did notice some people would always say, hey, shorty, and this, that, and the other, but maybe because I started to build up my physique, that stopped. So if I didn't have the physique I have, maybe I would get called short again. I don't know. But I haven't noticed it right now for myself in my life. So, but if you're talking about in America in general, I would say that at average height, you shouldn't notice very much at all. Below that, I think you drop off a cliff, and I think unfortunately our society is cruel, and yeah, there's all kinds of ridicule coming there. So that's my take. Sam?
So this is actually a funny story. When my dad is 5'7", and so when we were first trying to deal with my discrepancy when I was a teenager, and they offered me, at the time there was only external fixator and it was a new procedure. They offered that solution. He kind of wanted to do it, um, because in all the testing they figured that I would be about 6 feet tall, and so he wanted me to hit that 6 foot mark.
Yeah.
And so when we stopped the growth in my right shin so that my left leg could catch up, he kind of, he never really said it out loud, but he made jokes about the fact that they had robbed me of some height. So his thing, and I think because he was 5'7", which was slightly below average, he really wanted me to hit that 6 foot plateau. Um, and but for me, you know, I took that and kind of ran with it. So I was not short in soccer terms. I was kind of average for soccer players. Like there isn't that real, you don't get the really tall players. You know, you get guys who are shorter, and there's that range, and I was kind of in the middle of that range. So it was really for me, trying to prove that I am the height to play the sport I want to play, and and kind of technically, quote unquote, losing those inches didn't affect me. But yeah, he was gung ho for me to try and be 6 feet tall.
That's
So it
that,
was that was kind of a thing that he wanted for me that I didn't necessarily feel I needed for me.
real quick before HA goes, I find that all the parents that I talk to, right? Like there's not just patients, getting it done for themselves that talk to me, but there's actual parents that get and talk to me for their kids who are have premature senescence, meaning like they stop growing at a early age and they don't hit their full predicted height, right? I was one of those. But anyway, I find that the parents want their kids to be as tall as possible because they have experience, right? They have life experience. They've lived through that. And you said your father was 5'7", your dad was 5'7", so he probably lived through some of that ridicule. So he experienced it. He's like, you know what? I don't want that for my son. I want him to be as tall as possible. I want him to hit 6 foot and not have to go through all of the whatever that I went through. You were already going to be 5'10", so you're fine for your sport. You were fine for your life. It didn't bother you. But they are looking further down the line. Okay, I know several parents, in the back of my hand that I could say right now, but I'm not going to, that have called in, talked to me, consulted with me, and have said that they want this for their kids because they want them to be as tall as possible because they know what the future holds in this world in America. So, and I think that's worldwide. It goes, in fact, there's a lady internationally, Bulgaria. There's people all over, right? So that's why I think that from a parent standpoint, they do want you to be as tall as possible. That's why they try to get you to get your sleep. They try to feed you your vegetables and all that because they want you to be as tall as possible. So that's really cool, Sam. A really cool story. All right, HJ, what do you think for this question here?
Yeah, I think the people who benefit the most from the height gain is anybody under average. So about anybody under like 5'9" or 5'9.5". I think that's official statistic in America is 5'9.5", 5'9.5" in America for men. So anybody under the average will see the most gains. I think up to like maybe from 5'9.5", 5'9.5" to like 6 feet, you'll still see some significant gains. Not as much, but I think there's still some significant gains. And then after like about 6 feet tall, like it's probably not. That's when the law of diminishing returns really takes effect and pretty much levels off.
Yeah,
because it's been proven that about around like 6 feet tall, maybe a little more for some taller areas, but about 6 feet tall in most places in the United States and the world. It's like the gains, like in terms of like a job opportunities, career opportunities, economic opportunities, also like dating and respect. It kind of like levels off. That's why there was that one study I think you've heard for many years that it's been around for decades. Like the average height of the American male is like 5'9", but the average height of a Fortune 500 CEO is like 6 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems like that would levels off. Because if it was like unlimited, I think the average height of like a Fortune 500 CEO who makes like tens of millions of dollars in salary and benefits, it would be like something like 6'4" or more. But it seems to just level off at 6 feet, around 6 feet. So.
I agree with you. I think that that's a fantastic statement, what you said. I think that there is, like you said, that curve. You had this study in your video and online and stuff. And we have somebody else that just joined the stream here. Hold on. Sorry. Hey, Christopher, how are you?
Hey, Victor, how you doing? This is Christopher from Maryland. Hey.
From Maryland, that's right. You were on the show last week, right?
Yeah, I'm still in Maryland. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm here in Maryland as well. What part of Maryland are you from?
Do you know Rockville?
I do, yeah. Like they're by Gaithersburg, right?
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah.
It's like south of Gaithersburg. Yeah.
South of that. Yeah. I think that when I traveled internationally, I had to get a visa from that area, and I had to go to Rockville for something. So very cool. Yep. But I don't travel out there as much. That's Route 270 or 70? I forgot.
It's off of like 270.
270. That's what you take. Okay. Very cool, man. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think we're just finishing this question here, but yeah, let's talk to us. Now you, I think, were a prospective patient thinking about the surgery.
Yes, living in Maryland, it would help because I work here. So I would like to, maybe look into something that I could have the surgery and then have some time to, for physical therapy and then still be able to work right close by.
Yeah. There's
California.
That's so fantastic that you say, because I know you were talking about Mabubian. Well, HJ here, his surgeon, Dr. Asag, is here in Baltimore, and Dr. Conway, my surgeon, they're here in Baltimore. I had it done in Baltimore. It's a center here, ICLL. It's not far. It's like 25 minutes from here. So have you talked to them yet?
Yeah, I haven't yet. I haven't been able to get a hold of anybody.
Okay. Yeah. So why don't you? HJ has a channel and he has a email. HJ, right?
Yes.
HJ, can you give him your email in the private chat in here, and then he can email you the HJ one, and then he can reach out to you and you can kind of connect him.
And do they isn't the maximum like 3 inches? If it's
For the HJ, you want to answer that?
Yes, with the precise 2, yeah, about 3.1 inches.
Oh, that's great.
3 millimeters, yeah.
Yep. So for the femurs though, not for the tibias. Tibias, you're going to find some complications usually start to happen after that. So.
Catarrhina syndrome.
Yeah. So, but what I really suggest is like it'd be great because HJ got it done there most recently. So if you connect with him, HJ will shoot you something in the private chat, or if you go to his channel, and I'll put it below afterwards.
Yeah, I can't.
You can't use it. Okay. So go to heightjourney.com, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So check that out, Christopher. You can just connect with him there. He'll be able to connect you. He'll be able to connect you. Or if you want, and I suggest you talk to Conway too. Like both Asiok and Conway are over there. They're both fantastic surgeons. And yeah, just you're in Maryland, right? So just check it out and consult with them. And then see, they may want you to stay locally for a little while because you don't want to go back to Rockville. That is like, what's that? That's like a 45 minutes. Yeah, 45 minutes from, from there. And from there, you might hit some traffic, so 50 minutes to an hour. So they may not, in the first month, want you to travel too far. So just talk to them. You're right. Getting it done locally would definitely help you. So do you work remotely from home or do you have to go into the office?
I do, but I also have a cat. I don't know if you guys have a cat.
Yeah,
and he's pretty, his name is Bobo, so he kind of needs me around. So I'm like, well, if I can limp around or something, it'd be better than not being here for weeks.
Right. See, that you better not say that too loud. I have my dog Casey here, and if he sees a cat, he's gonna gun for us. So Casey and Bobo won't get along. No, I'm just playing.
I know, right? They can go and play games.
Yep. So awesome. Yeah, Christopher. So definitely connect with him. That'll be good. So go to heightjourney.com and then you can connect with him. So absolutely. So let's see if there's any other questions in here. We'll wrap up the show.
Thank you much.
Yeah, absolutely, Christopher. I think people are just talking amongst themselves. Okay, this is a good one. For both Sam and HJ. Animal Trends is saying, for those of you who've used the Precise 2.0, that disqualifies me because I have the Precise 1.0 OG. So anyway, what is it like using the walker? And Sam, I think you use crutches, but do you feel disabled? So like being on walking assistance. So let's take Sam first, then we'll go HJ.
I kind of feel differently about it, and this is probably because I have a lot of experience being on crutches from associated injuries. So I didn't really view being on crutches as necessarily a bad thing or a detriment. The couple times when I had to go out, within probably a month after the surgery when I had something going on, I did use a wheelchair rather than, because I wasn't sure about how far I'd have to go or, what the situation was. So I think it was two. There was one time it was a work celebration, and the other time was my son's Christmas pageant. So I took a wheelchair, and that had me feeling a little bit of a kind of way, but with crutches, I have no problem with crutches. I mean, the crutches that I used, there was a joke with the physical therapist, is I have a set of wooden crutches, and they hadn't seen wooden crutches like pretty much ever. And the fact that I have them is because these were crutches I got when I was like a teenager, and I just had to use them so often that the doctors were finally like, just keep them. We're not going to give you new crutches every time you come in. So like through middle school and high school, at least once a year I was on crutches. So, I got used to being on crutches. I don't see it as a detriment. So for me, crutches for me are always a temporary step to a better place. That's my experience with crutches, and that's the way I feel when I'm on them.
That's awesome. And that's also can go for not just for discrepancy, people who have one leg lengthening, but also the weight bearing nail patients, right? Whenever that comes out, because you can use crutches or a cane. So you're less limited to a walker. So you have variety. So, but HJ, I want to get your take on this because you did use the walker because you did have bilateral femur and bilateral tibia surgery done.
Yeah, I did use a walker during lengthening. It's not too bad, but it requires a lot of upper body strength with your arms. So
Yeah. And did you feel like, obviously going from being normal to using that, did you feel in any way like vulnerable or like disabled? Like, you see an elderly person using them. We have elderly people here at this office all the time. So somebody sees you like that. Did
Yeah,
you
I was
feel
a
like, oh,
little,
they're opening the
I
door
was
for
a little
me?
handicapped,
Handicap. Yeah.
but it wasn't that. I just knew it was temporary. So
That's good.
that's all I remember. This was only temporary, and I don't know. It's so long ago. I don't really remember.
That's and again, what you just said is really, really cool, because a lot of patients don't realize that when you're in lengthening, it feels like forever. But when you're out of lengthening, you start to phase out. You're like, hey, that wasn't that bad. Like, I'm ready for round 2, or you know what? I'm ready to move on to my normal life again. Like, you start to forget. That's what happened to me until people started pulling me in, like, hey, shoot this video on that. And I was like, oh, okay. So, and here I am with this whole thing. So anyway, very cool. Great question. So let's bust through real quick these comments that came in here. Teenage experience. So I always thought that more musculature made people look more stocky and thus short. So funny. It sounds like your father, I think he's talking about Sam, wanted to vicariously experience being tall. That's actually really interesting. What do you think about that, Sam?
I think so. I mean, my dad, he grew up in West Virginia, like rural West Virginia, and he wrestled in high school, but he was very stocky. He was short and stocky, and I think, when he got to Boston, where he went to college, and then out to the Bay Area where I grew up, I think he always felt like he didn't look like the rest of the people there, and if he'd been taller, I think he felt like he might have fit in more, because he was very stocky, and so yeah, that could be a thing where he wanted me to be through me he could experience, hey, some height and some benefits to that.
Yeah, that's so cool that you said that, because my dad is actually pretty short too. They, parents shrink over time as they get older. I think he was at best 5'6.5", maybe 5'7" in his heyday. But now he's got to be like 5'5". And when I see him sometimes, and I'm like, and I think that when he sees somebody like, who's taller at like a family gathering, so he's, whoa, you're like one of my second cousins. He's like, whoa, Chris or Paul or Andrew, you guys are tall like a stalk or something like that. And that's his first thing he's talked about, is like tall. Like everybody does that, like family gatherings, like, you look like you grew or something like that. It's the first visual attribute that you can kind of like make a comment about. And I think that people who are shorter stature, that's one of the first thing that they latch on to. And when let's say he's already established, he's not going to go break his legs, he has family, business, all that stuff, it does, I think, in a way, allow them to live vicariously through their kids. And I've heard all these statements that kids nowadays, the Gen Zs, are taller or something like that. And you can argue all day what you want, but I think that parents do like to, live vicariously through their kids in some way. And this is not only for height, right? Through sports, through making a better life for their kids, and in some way, making it easier. So that's pretty cool. My dad is tall. Okay, he's just talking amongst himself. All right, so this is a real quick, boss. I want to give you a shout out. You're in your lengthening phase right now with the femur. So HJ did the femurs here. Chris is probably going to do the femurs, and they're going to give you best of luck too. So good luck. I'm not sure what you're in lengthening phase, but I'm not sure how far out. Oh, here he is, right here. It says it. I'm currently in lengthening phase day 29, so a month in, and I still have pain ranging from 4 to 7. Is that normal? So HJ, can you take this question real quick?
Yes. Yeah, that's normal. In the lengthening phase.
Okay.
Like what kind of pains is it? Like muscle contractures, or?
I think it's probably more.
Because the surgical swelling should be gone by
Should
then.
be. It should
But then,
be.
yeah, you sometimes get like often muscle contractures, a little nerve pains, but
Yeah.
it's just if it's moderate, then it's not too bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that a lot of times, if you are getting muscle spasms, you can ask your surgeon for something called a muscle relaxer. A lot of times, they usually prescribe it ahead of time. Sam, did they give you that for your tibia, like Flexeril or?
No, there was discussion, if there became muscle issue, then we'd talk about it, but
Mm.
it never
Never got to
It
that
didn't
point.
actually, yeah, it never got to that point.
Gotcha. Very cool. All right. And for you goofballs in the chat that are talking weird things about people, let's stop that because I don't want to have to hire a moderator to come in here and just make fun of you because I'll do that. Like I said earlier, I'm a bully to bully. So don't make me figure out who you are online because I have marketing friends that can hack YouTube accounts. So they'll figure out exactly where you are and they'll figure out all kinds of things about you. Then I lose everybody on the stream. I'm just kidding. No. All right. Oh, he says this, HA. It's tight pain and stiffness when I walk. Sometimes it's hard to walk flat-footed. So you're walking. So you're walking, or you mean on the
Muscle
walker?
tightness, yeah. So
Yeah.
it
Okay.
just keep stretching. That's all.
Gotcha.
And go to a
Alrighty.
physical therapist also to help you stretch out.
Okay. Let's get Sam to take this one from Machiavelli, saying, how many months after lengthening can you get back to your swimming ability? Have you swam yet, Sam?
No, I haven't tried.
Even with your son, you haven't taken him to the pool in the summer?
We've gone to the beach.
Okay.
I will say one of the best days was at the beach, and the water's really cold where I am,
Yeah.
and I just stood in the surf
Mhm.
and having like super. I mean, it's not quite freezing, but it's super cold, and just having that wash back and forth over my legs was a great day.
Yeah. To feel that water.
Yep.
That's awesome. Very cool. Awesome. Let me think will bot you. Well, Rebecca, I don't think it will. So why don't you go? Yeah, anyway. Let's go ahead and call it a day because I will get feisty in a minute. So alrighty, let's see here. Last one. We're gonna take this from Psychman. Victor, it's great that you do these sessions so that guys who do limb lengthening have support and access to facts and don't have to pay attention to these people who clearly don't know what they're talking about. Thank you, Psychman. That's right. I'm going to I can't do it from here, but I will get my moderators back in. Ben is actually out today, surprisingly. He never misses a stream. I'm not sure where he is. Maybe he graduated for once. But anyway, I want to thank Sam for coming on and HJ for coming on, giving their amazing lengthening experience and adding valuable tips and advice to all you patients out there. Like you said, Sam is a discrepancy patient. He did his tibias, and now he's at the 10.5-month mark, and he's going to be getting probably his nails out end of next month. So he'll be back. Sam will probably do a discrepancy roundtable in the next probably 2 or 3 weeks. So I'll definitely hit you up. HJ, as always, I'll post your stuff below, your YouTube channel, your websites, valuable information. We want to thank you for everything you're doing for the limb lengthening community. If you guys want to reach out to him, Christopher, I think you should connect with him. Go to highjourney.com, get some great resources. And I want to thank everybody who participated positively today. In the Limb Lengthening Live episode 136, and we'll be back next week. And until then, this is Victor from Cyborg for Life. It's amazing panelists signing out. See you guys next time.